Alright, we're almost done with this unit, but we do have a very heavily math-intensive unit on this one and the next one. So I need you to focus, take a lot of notes, make sure you can do these problems. Okay, let's look at this. You take 2 feet and you say how many inches in it. How many inches is that? Pause the video, figure it out. Okay, I expect you came up with 24 inches. How about 36 inches? How many feet is that? Pause the video. Okay, sure, you came up with 3 feet. Now, how did you know how to do that? How did you know when to multiply, and how did you know when to divide? How did you know to take 2 feet and multiply by 12 inches to come up with 24? How did you know to take 36 inches, divide by 12 inches to come up with 3 feet? Well, somehow you just kind of knew that because you've been doing it for a long time, and you have a mental picture of what you're trying to do. But what happens when you don't have a mental picture? Well, here's what we do. We tend, in algebra, to say, I want to go and multiply something. Let's say that I have a times x. No, I don't want to do that. Let's say that I had the number 10 equals 5 times 2. And if I multiply this side by 5 over 5, they cancel out, right, because it's 1. Or I multiply this side by a over a, they cancel out because they're 1. You have the same thing. You're allowed to do that in algebra. Well, could you multiply by 12 inches divided by a foot? Because, frankly, they are the same, right? A foot is 12 inches. And the answer to that is yes. All right? We don't need to worry about the numbers. We need to worry about the units. So we're going to talk about exactly how that works as we go through something called dimensional analysis. So, I'm going to work these out using dimensional analysis. I say that I have 2 feet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create these things. My students tend to call these railroad tracks, right? But we're going from 2 feet and we're converting to inches. Do I have a conversion factor from feet to inches? Well, sure I do. I know that 12 inches is equal to 1 foot. So because I have this conversion factors between inches and foot and feet, I can use that right there. So because I have feet on the top and I want to get rid of them, I'm going to put feet on the bottom because feet are going to cancel. All right? And I have a conversion factor from feet to inches. And this will allow my feet down here to cancel the feet that are up there. If I cancel those units, the only units that I'm left with are inches, which is what I'm trying to find in my problem. Now you'll notice I didn't put any numbers in here. And that's because I'm going to use those numbers from up here. So my inches, I'll notice that for inches I have 12. So I'm going to put 12 inches there, and in 1 foot. So that's my conversion factor. In 1 foot, I have 12 inches. And the reason that I put the 12 above the 1 is because the 12 goes with inches, and the 1 goes with feet. Well, now if I multiply everything on the top together, I have 2 times 12 is 24, and I divide by what's in the bottom, which is 1. So that gives me 24 as my number, and the only unit that I'm left with are inches on the top. So that's my answer. Let's try it the other way, see what happens. I have 36 inches. All right, well, I'm going to draw these same set of lines here, just like I did before. And on the bottom this time I'm going to put inches because I want to be able to cancel my inches. Do I have a conversion factor between inches and feet? I sure do. So I put feet up on top. You'll notice I haven't put any numbers in yet. And then I look to see what my conversion factor is between inches and feet, and there are 12 inches in 1 foot. Notice that the 12 now goes on the bottom because inches are on the bottom, and feet, the 1 foot, goes on top because the 1 foot goes with feet. So now I do the math and I multiply 36 by 1 and I get 36. I divide by 12 and I get 3, and the only units that I have left are feet, so that makes sense to be my answer. So we're going to do a couple of these, and I'm going to let you do a couple. We do have some conversion factors you need to know. You do need to know that there are 12 inches in a foot, 3 feet in a yard, 5,280 feet in a mile. Those are things that are common in the U.S. measuring system. And when we want to convert between the U.S. and the metric measurement system for length, this is the units that we tend to use, is that they're 2.54 centimeters in every inch. Now, we also have a volume measurement for 1 milliliter equals 1 cubic centimeter. We talked about that in our previous podcast. So you need to know these. And right now, you're probably still grasping them and getting them under your belt. There is a list in your packet, so you should be able to find that and use that list as you're going through these problems with me. Alright, so let's do 84 inches in a foot. How many feet is that? You should be able to do this problem. It's very similar to the last one. Pause the video, work it out yourself, and see what you come out with. Use the railroad tracks, please. Alright, I have 84 inches. I always start with the information that I'm given in the problem. That's always the first number that I use. And I always put it on top. And I'm trying to convert from inches, so inches are going to go on the bottom. And I'm trying to convert to feet. Do I have a conversion factor from inches to feet? I certainly do. And for every foot, there are 12 inches. So I'm going to take the 84, and I'm going to divide by 12. And if I'm not mistaken, that is a 7. My inches cancel. And so I'm left with feet, and that's 7 feet. How about this one? Go ahead and try it on your own, then come back. Alright, we have 5 inches equals some number of centimeters. So I'm going to start with 5 inches. And that means I have to put it on top, and I put inches on the bottom because I want to cancel inches. And I want to go to centimeters. Now, do I have a conversion factor between inches and centimeters? I sure do. I know that there are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. So I'm going to multiply this out. And that's going to give me, let's see, 2.54 times 10 is 25.4. So it would be 12.7. How about that? 12.7 centimeters is my answer. Okay. Let's go on to my next one. 72 inches is equals some number of yards. Pause the video. You try it. Right? We're trying to get rid of inches. And we're trying to go to yards. Can't get there. So, I'll bet you ran into a problem. Well, here's how you fix it. We're trying to get rid of inches, and I can't go to yards, but I do know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. And I do know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So I can use both of those pieces of information. If I go from inches to feet, I can cancel out my inches. And then I have feet on the top, so I put feet on the bottom. I want to get rid of feet, and I can go from feet to yards because I have those 2 conversions up above. Now you'll notice when I do this, I always put in the units first, and then I go back and put in the numbers, because now I'm just looking at this conversion factor right here, and I'm looking at my feet to my inches, and I realize that for every foot, I have 12 inches. And over here for yards, for every yard, I have 3 feet. So what I'm doing is I'm taking now the 72, I multiply by the 1 and divide by 12. That gives me 6. I multiply by 1, I still have 6. I divide by 3, and that gives me 2. Well, what units do I have? Well, the inches are gone, and the feet are gone. The only units that I have left are yards. So let's see if you can do one. You try this one. Pause the video. You should be able to do this now. It's kind of what we just did, but it's backwards. All right. So we start with 5 yards. So what do I have to get rid of? Of course, I have to get rid of yards, but I can't go directly to inches. I have to go to feet. And from feet, then I can go to inches. And you'll notice my yards are going to cancel, my feet are going to cancel, and I'm getting to inches. Now, how do I know which conversion factors to use? Well, I look at what I'm starting with, and I look at where I want to go, and I map out a route to get there. Kind of like if you were driving from here to Richmond, you'd map out a route of how to get there. All right, well, what are my conversion factors? Well, in every yard, there are 3 feet, and there are 12 inches in every foot. So I multiply, and so that means I'm left with inches at the end, which is what I want. And what's my number? Well, 5 times 3 is 15, and 15 times 12 is 180, maybe? 15 times 12 is 30 times 6, that's 180, that's right. 180 inches. This is live, guys. This is not Memorex. All right, so let's try this one. We have 2 yards is some number of centimeters. All right, so go ahead and pause the video. See if you can work this one out. Okay, I don't have a calculator, so I'm going to use 2 yards. And I have to get to centimeters. So how do I do that? Well, if I start with yards, I can get to feet. And from feet, I can get to inches. And from inches, I can get to centimeters. And that's what I want down here. So those are the conversion factors I'm going to use. I'm going to put yards on the bottom, feet on top. So I've gotten rid of yards. And I've gone to feet. Get rid of feet, and go to inches. Feet disappear, go to inches. I don't want inches anymore. I want centimeters. So I get rid of inches and go to centimeters. I go back and put some numbers in. There are 3 feet in every yard. There are 12 inches in every foot. And there are 2.54 centimeters in every inch. So I'm just going to estimate, since I don't have a calculator. These first 2 numbers are 6. 6 times 12 is 72. 72 times 2 is 144. Plus half of 72, which is 36, is 170. So say about 180. It's going to be 180, somewhere between 180 and 185, maybe, centimeters. And I'll let you figure that out with a calculator. All right, you try this one. See what you can come up with. And by the way, when you use a calculator, this will come out exactly. All right, I'm starting with centimeters. Did you figure out how to get there? Centimeters can go to inches. Inches can go to feet. Feet can go to yards. So if I start with 365.76 centimeters, and I get rid of centimeters and go to inches. And from inches, I go to feet. And from feet, I go to yards. And there are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. And there are 12 inches in 1 foot. And there are 3 feet in 1 yard. Let's see, that's 36, that's 72. I'm guessing that's going to be about 5 yards. So let me grab a calculator just to see what I've got. I take 365.76 divided by 2.54 divided by 12 divided by 3, because everything's on the bottom. That did not work at all, because I put in the wrong number to begin with. 2.54 divided by 12 divided by 3, and it is equal to 4. This is equal to 4 yards. All right. Now, we went over these on a previous podcast where we talked about metric prefixes. You'll notice, for example, I'll use millimeters, that there are 1,000 millimeters in a meter. This is one you certainly should know from past times, as well as centimeters. Okay? Now, you can use meters, you can use grams, you can use liters. It doesn't matter what it is. That's the beauty of metric prefixes. That does not work for American units. So we could, on the other hand, look at grams and go to the bigger ones. For example, a kilogram is 1,000 grams. That certainly is something that you should be familiar with. Okay? So, let's go and convert meters to kilometers. Now, the beauty of doing this is we're using metric units, so they're all multiples of 10, so it's real easy to use. Okay? So, go back and use your conversion factors. You should be able to do this. All right? So, hopefully you said, well, I have 12 meters. And I draw my railroad tracks, and I want to get rid of meters, and I want to go to kilometers. Do I have a conversion directly to kilometers? I certainly do, and I know that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. My meters cancel. So I take the 12 and I divide by 1,000, and I get 0.012 kilometers. All right, that was pretty easy. Let's try another one. We're converting to micrometers now. Again, pause the video, see if you can do it. Okay, we have 34.5 meters. To draw our railroad tracks, do we have a conversion between meters and micrometers? We certainly do. Micrometers, there are 1 million micrometers in 1 meter. So this is going to be 34,500,000, or 34,500,000 micrometers. That's a lot. Okay, how about converting from kilometers to millimeters? You're going to have to make multiple steps here. Be careful. Go ahead and pause the video, see if you can do it. Give it the old college try here. All right, 0.475 kilometers. Well, if I'm converting from kilometers to millimeters, I don't know how to do that, but I do know how to convert from kilometers to my base unit, which is meters. And once I have meters, I can convert from meters to millimeters. And I know that there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. There are 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. And so that's my answer because I've got the units I want, and I've canceled all these other guys as I went along. So I have 0.475 times 1,000 times another 1,000. So it's going to be 475,000 millimeters. All right, try this one. Same concept. Pause the video, do it on your own. All right, 89.3 microliters. I don't know how to convert from microliters directly to millimeters, so I'm going to put microliters on the bottom and go to liters here. And then I can go from liters to milliliters. All right, so let's look it up. If I look it up, I see that for microliters, there are 1 million microliters in 1 liter. And I can see that there are 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. These 3 zeros and these 3 zeros cross each other out. So I now have 89.3 divided by 1,000, which is 0.0893 milliliters. All right, let's try this one. Again, pause the video, give it a shot. 12.3 milligrams. I have to convert from milligrams to grams, but that's not what I want. So then I have to convert from grams to megagrams. And then I have the units that I want because my milligrams have canceled, my grams have canceled. And there are 1,000 milligrams in 1 gram, and there are 1,000. Come on, talk to me. Thank you. There are 1 million grams in a megagram. So, oh my gosh, this is going to be a very small number. This is going to be 0.00000000123 megagrams. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's right. Okay. This is the toughest one we're going to do. I'm going to give you a moment, see if you can work it on your own, and then come on back and see if you got it right. All right, we have 5 kilometers. Hopefully I can do all this in one line. All right, now I'm trying to get to miles. So my problem is I have to be able to convert from something in the metric system to something in the US system. And the only thing that we have is 2.54 centimeters is equal to 1 inch. So I'm going to have to go from kilometers all the way to centimeters. And then I can convert to inches, but then I have to go and convert that to miles. So if you go back and look at your conversion factors, if you were not able to do it, now that you understand that, see if you can do it. All right? So if I want to go from kilometers, I can go from kilometers to meters. And then I can go from meters to centimeters. Now I can make this conversion over to the US system, so I get rid of centimeters and I go to inches. And then from inches I go to feet. And from feet I can get to miles. All of these conversion factors are conversion factors that you have. Right? You will notice that all my units cancel, and I'm left with miles. And there are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. There are 2.54 centimeters in 1 inch. There are 12 inches in 1 foot. And there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. If I take the 5 and multiply by 1,000, multiply by 100, divide by 2.54, divide by 12, divide by 5,280, I get approximately 3.1 miles. And that's a 5K. Right? So that's it. Right? You need to be able to convert between units, and you need to know your metric prefixes and be able to solve them, to be able to apply them to solve some problems. So that's what I hope you can do. Please go off and do the worksheet. You've got to do the worksheet. You've got to practice this, right? And you're going to be doing this for the rest of the year. So tell me if you've got problems. I'll be happy to help you. Okay? We'll see you in class. Bye.